What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a new release film that I had not heard a whole lot about, but saw a few reviews online that were exceptionally positive. And it compared this film to movies like The Florida Project and After Sun, which are two films that I love quite a bit. I'm also a huge fan of coming of age films, and I believe that this was either the director's first film or very early in their filmography. And I was very excited to check this one out. And the movie I'm going to be discussing today is Scrapper. Scrapper is directed by Charlotte Regan. Living alone since her beloved mom died, 12-year-old Georgie fills the flat they shared with her own special magic. But when her absent father, Jason, turns up out of the blue, she's forced to confront reality. So, as I said, I knew very little about this movie before I went into it, other than a couple of positive reviews that I read prior to watching the movie. And I absolutely adored this film. This could 100% be in contention for one of my favorite films of the year. It's simple, but the execution is fantastic. The story is not too complicated, but the performances are absolutely incredible. And they kept me engaged in the film the entire time. And I'm very excited to break the film down for you today. So the lead character of our film is Georgie, played by Lola Campbell, and she's a young 12-year-old girl who recently lost her mother. But because she's incredibly intelligent, she has managed to evade social services, convince them that she is living with her uncle Winston Churchill, and is managing to survive. She pays the rent, she pays her bills, and the reason why she is able to do that is because her and her close friend go around and steal bicycles and sell them to people. And so she's able to make enough money to get by, and she keeps her place very clean. She's very attentive to the way it looks. We see a lot of moments of her watching cell phone footage of her mother and looking at pictures of her mother and the way that her mother had their apartment. And so because of that, you can tell that she really wants to make her mother proud and that she loves her mother. And so throughout the first probably 15 to 20 minutes of the film, we see her living on her own, navigating this really difficult lifestyle where she's lost a parent way too young. Well, one day her and her friend are hanging out at her apartment. We see someone jump over the fence in the backyard, and it's Jason, played by Harris Dickinson. And he comes in and says, "I'm your dad. I am here to see you after your mom died." And Georgie is completely put off by it. She wants nothing to do with him because he hasn't been around her entire life. She's 12 years old. He left as soon as she was born. And so the entire film is the relationship between this estranged father and his daughter, who just recently lost her mother, and kind of seeing where the two of them are coming from, where their headspaces are at, why they each make the decisions that they make. And like I said, it's a very simplistic movie, but the execution is fantastic and the performances are excellent. I want to start with the performances. The young actress Lola Campbell, who plays Georgie, one of the best young actors I've seen in a film in a very, very long time. Very believable. The dialogue doesn't feel forced. She lives and breathes this character in a way that is incredibly impressive. She's charming, she's funny, she's got some sass, and that's what I really like about her character. Is this film is very heavy dramatically, but because of the way that her character presents herself, the movie has a lot of incredibly funny moments that work really well. I think Harris Dickinson, that plays Jason, also does a fantastic job. He's this guy who clearly had a child, his relationship didn't work, and so he left. And now he feels this, you can tell he feels this kind of push and pull responsibility of making sure that she's okay, but not necessarily being able to commit to being a father. And there's that push and pull element that it's not even necessarily through the dialogue sequences, but it's through his facial expressions and through his bodily movements towards her and the little gestures that he tries to make to be a dad, even though he's never been a dad. And I think all those little nuances through both of their performances are what make the movie so incredibly effective. I really liked the cinematography in this as well. It's very simple, but the camera is expertly placed in every shot to really kind of create a space between these two characters where there's a lot of visual elements that represent their relationship in a specific point throughout the film. And I like when a director has that level of intentionality personality, even with a premise that is incredibly simple. I really liked a couple moments in this that felt almost like Edgar Wright-esque, where like Georgie and her friend are having a conversation about what Jason could have done or like who he is, and they're like, maybe he's a vampire, and the camera like whips around and he's in this cheesy vampire costume, or maybe he's a mobster, and then it flips around and he's in this suit dressed up all funny. And there's a lot of moments like that that come into play that I think, you know, if it was handled by the wrong director, it would feel incredibly out of place, but I think it adds a level of charm because anytime those moments play out, it's through the eyes of a child. So it makes perfect sense as to why those things are incorporated in the film. And I think that it just added a level of humor that the movie really needed. And the best part about this film is the emotional core. Obviously, it's a very complex story, but I think one that a lot of people can relate to, that a lot of people can pull a lot from, especially like it's interesting because so much of the film is through the eyes of a child, but this child is not the same as a normal kid. She's essentially had to grow up and be an adult at 12 years old so that she can continue to live the life that she wants and not be thrown from foster care home to foster care home. And when the father comes into the picture, he's the immature one. He's the one who doesn't really know how to act or present himself. And it's almost like she seems to be taking care of him through a lot of the film, and then him trying to grow up but not necessarily knowing how to. And I thought that dichotomy was really well presented, and I was just hooked the entire runtime of the film, and the ripples in their relationship and the growth of their relationship throughout the film, all of it felt very natural. None of the blow up moments felt like cliche Hollywood stuff. There's so many of these movies where you see like an estranged parent or a relationship between two people that it's like a plot device is thrown in just to create some sort of turmoil to get to the next scene. Everything in this flowed very normally to where it felt very much a slice of life, where I could see the comparisons to After Sun and to the Florida Project, where it's very stripped back. There's not a lot of Hollywood glitz and glam throughout the movie. It's really just presenting a very specific relationship between two characters in the most realistic way possible. And that's what I really appreciate about it a lot. Obviously, as a lot of you out there know, if you've been watching my YouTube for a while, I'm a big fan of slice of life coming of age cinema, and so this movie hit all the right hallmarks for me. I just thought it was so well directed, so well acted, and it's definitely a hidden gem this year. I haven't heard a whole lot of people talking about this movie since its initial release, and I hope a lot more people watch it because it is fantastic, and it's definitely going to end up in one of my favorite films of the year. So have you seen Scrapper? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was fantastic. I thought the performances were great. I thought it was well shot, well directed, just everything I could have wanted from this type of movie. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.